Tonight on News Prime, National Population Commission says federal government to conduct census in 2025. In business, Nigeria-China trade relations hits $22.6 billion in 2023. On the foreign scene, Liberian ex-warlord Prince Johnson dies at 72. And in sports, Chelsea legend Frank Lampard appointed as Coventry City manager. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agumofwebe. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nightcomsat. Let's begin tonight by telling you President Bola Tinubu has begun a two-day official visit to France, with both countries seeking increased economic cooperation and Paris looking to boost ties in English-speaking Africa following a series of setbacks with former allies on the continent. French President Emmanuel Macron says the trip is an opportunity to deepen the already dynamic relationship between France and Nigeria, noting that Nigeria is the continent's leading oil producer and has a robust film industry. And back home, Senate has passed for a second reading the four controversial tax reform bills transmitted to it by President Bola Tinubu. This followed the lead debates on the bills presented by Senate leader Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele, representing Ekiti Central, and debated by senators during plenary. Some top officials in Tinubu's government had appeared before the Senate, where they made detailed presentations on the bills. Northern governors, traditional rulers, and Northern Elders Forum had earlier rejected the bills, saying the proposed legislative items are not in the interest of the nation. Tonight, we turn to Nigeria's southeast, where Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has reiterated his administration's commitment to strengthening media practices and fostering democracy. The governor stated this at the 8th Triennial National Delegates Conference of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, holding in Owerri, Imo State's capital. Our correspondent in that state, Amarachi Ibe, now brings us details.
Holding leaders accountable to the people they serve. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Sincere apologies for that mix-up. We'll hope to correct it in the course of tonight's news broadcast. In the meantime, let's turn to other stories for you. The 23-year dormant Port Harcourt refinery is now operational with 60% daily production of fuel and other petroleum products. The managing director, Port Harcourt Refining Company Limited, Engineer Ibrahim Onoja, announced these while conducting members of the Senate Ad hoc Committee on turnaround maintenance of Nigeria's refineries, led by its chairman, Senator Kawu Sumaila, around the Port Harcourt refinery in Eleme, River State. Engineer Onoja, however, says the production of fuel, which is a blend of other elements, will be a gradual process to achieve the expected capacity per day. Chairman, Senate Committee on Turnaround Maintenance of Nigeria's Refineries, who is also the Chairman, Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream, Senator Kawu Sumaila, expressed satisfaction with the level of rehabilitation work of the entire refinery and hoped that the refining of all the petroleum products will be sustained. President Bola Tinubu has applauded the Nigerian Navy for the collaborative and supportive efforts of international partners in advancing maritime security initiatives and promoting sustainable development of Gulf of Guinea. President Tinubu, who was represented by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, gave this commendation while delivering a keynote address at the opening ceremony of the 8th edition symposium of the heads of navies and coast guards of Gulf of Guinea in Abuja. Our defense correspondent, Kekelomo Okere, now brings us details.
The Gulf of Guinea is a crucial shipping route for global trade and accounts for about 60% of Africa's shipping trade volume. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, Aids of navies and coastal guards of Gulf of Guinea to foster international cooperation to tackle maritime challenges and promote sustainable development of the maritime resources. He noted that through shared responsibilities and concerted efforts, the aids of navies can effectively combat illegal activities at sea, protect the maritime ecosystem, and unlock the immense economic opportunities on the waterways.
It is therefore our collective responsibility to foster international cooperation to tackle these challenges and promote sustainable development of our maritime resources.
The Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, says the symposium underscores the importance of cooperation and the need to strengthen and expand existing regional and international security initiatives. He noted that the symposium is aimed to foster cooperation to the development of Africa's oceans, particularly the Gulf of Guinea nation's economy within the secure maritime environment.
There are still some myriads of challenges such as sea robbery, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing, human trafficking, just to mention a few. Most of these crimes are transnational in nature and requires collective approach involving all navies and coast guards.
France Naval Chief Admiral Nicolas Vajo says the symposium is aimed to discuss strategic maritime security issues in the Gulf of Guinea to strengthen the maritime security.
Regional cooperation is progressing positively. These various actions prove the relevance of the Yaoundé architecture of this integrated model. It's a goal to pursue our joint action and continue to develop our partnership. Based on the actual success, there will be room for including able and willing partners who will contribute to the operations under Yaoundé architecture.
The 8th edition symposium of the Aids of Navies and Coastal Guards of Gulf of Guinea is tagged Maritime Security and Sustainable Development in the Gulf of Guinea reflects the essence of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Kelama, we appreciate your reporting tonight. Now, let's return to our earlier story where Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma has reiterated his administration's commitment to strengthening media practices and fostering democracy. The governor stated this at the 8th Triennial National Delegates Conference of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, holding in Owerri, Imo State capital. Our correspondent in that state, Amarachi Ibe, now brings us details.
Media and democracy. The journalist's role in holding leaders accountable has drawn journalists from across the country to discuss the media's role in nation building and elect new Nigerian Union of Journalists leaders. Addressing journalists at the event, Governor Uzodimma highlighted the media's critical role in promoting accountability and transparency in governance. He assured journalists that his government will continue to support press freedom and create an enabling environment for them to carry out their duties effectively.
UJ has an important role to play in dealing with these challenges and upholding the integrity of the journalism profession. I urge you to take proactive steps to promote ethical reporting, combat the spread of disinformation, and ensure that all journalists are equipped with the skills and knowledge necessary to thrive in the digital age.
The outgoing Nigerian Union of Journalists President, Chris Isiguzo, praised Governor Hope Uzodimma for his generosity and unwavering support, which made the successful hosting of this year's conference possible. He emphasized the inseparable connection between a thriving press and a flourishing democracy.
Journalists are not just people who put together history, who chronicle history. We are the stewards of truth, the watchdogs of power, and the bridge between the people and the leaders. Without a free, fair, and functional media, democracy itself is at risk of being undermined.
The chairman of the occasions in Necessities in Nassau, represented by Dr. Maxwell Ngele, lauded the courage of journalists in upholding truth and transparency, despite the challenges they face in their profession.
I want to acknowledge the many challenges that Nigerian journalists face, from harassment, intimidation, the economic constraints, particularly in the private sector, where some people...
As the Nigerian Union of Journalists 8th Triennial National Delegate Conference draws to a close, journalists are reminded of their indispensable role in safeguarding democracy and holding leaders accountable to the people they serve. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Well, thank you so very much, Amarachi. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization say effective risk communication is key to prevention and response to disease outbreaks in the country. Experts from the organization stated this in Lagos during the commencement of a 6-day workshop for key stakeholders to develop effective risk communication strategies. The workshop, funded by the Canadian government through the Can Give project, aims to enhance the capacity of key stakeholders to effectively communicate risk, engage communities, and manage informatics during public health emergencies. In a different development tonight, the Senate has passed for second reading the 4 controversial tax reform bills transmitted to it by President Bola Tinubu. This followed a lead debate on the bills presented by Senate leader Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele and deliberated by senators during plenary. Some top officials in Tinubu's government appeared before the Senate, where they made detailed presentations on the bills. Now let's talk politics. Adamawa State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has refuted claims that its 2023 governorship candidate, Senator Aishatu Binani, has been suspended. The state leadership labeled the story allegedly spread by Yola South Local Government Chapter as fake and mischievous. The state leadership, represented by Publicity Secretary Muhammad Abdullahi, says the allegations were fabricated by individuals unhappy with the efforts of party leaders Mal Nuru Ribadu Mustafa Saliu to resolve internal issues and unite the party. The statement confirmed that Yola South Local Government Area had not suspended Senator Binani, rendering this story false. The National Coordinator for Neglected Tropical Diseases, also called NTDs, at the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, Fatai Oyendiron, says about $19 million is required to effectively tackle the health threats in the country. Oyediron disclosed this on the second day of the advocacy meeting with commissioners for health from the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. He said with adequate investments, NTDs can be controlled and eradicated. The Senate Committee on Army, led by its chairman, Senator Abdulaziz Musa Yaradua, has begun the screening of the Acting Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Olatubosun Oloyede, who has now been confirmed as the substantive Chief of Army Staff. General Oluyede was appointed Acting Chief of Army Staff on October 30, 2024, following the illness of Lieutenant General Tarid Lagwaja, who passed away on November 5, 2024. The chairman of the National Population Commission, NPC, Nasir Okwara, has disclosed that Nigeria's belated census will hold in 2025. Okwara made the revelation at the 2024 anniversary on the Nairobi Summit on International Conference on Population and Development in Abuja. Despite the United Nations recommending population census to be held in countries every 10 years, Nigeria last conducted its own in 2006, making the country 18 years without accurate figure of its citizens. Alhassan Yahya Abdullahi from Gombe State has emerged the new president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, at the 8th Triennial National Delegates Conference held in Owerri in Imo State. Yahya secured a landslide victory with 436 votes, defeating Dele Atumbi of the Federal Capital Territory Council, who received 97 votes, and Mohammed Garba of the Kaduna Council, who scored only 39 votes. Yahaya, who works with the Gombe Media Corporation, was the immediate national deputy president of the NUJ and now succeeds Chris Isiguzo as president of the association. Also, Abimbola Oyetunde, a deputy director at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, emerged unopposed as the deputy national president. All other positions were also returned unopposed. In his acceptance speech, Yahaya pledged to advance the interests and welfare of NUJ members, defend press freedom, and uphold high journalistic standards. Now let's go to Edo State, where the State Vehicle Recovery Committee Chairman Kelly Okungbawa says the committee has retrieved 30 government-owned vehicles from officials of the immediate past administration of former Governor Godwin Obaseki. The development was disclosed in a statement issued by Fred Itwa, Chief Press Secretary to Governor Monday Okpebolo, stating that Okungbawa commended whistleblowers for providing critical information that facilitated the recoveries, including 4 vehicles retrieved from the residence of a former high-ranking official and another from a separate individual. He also assured Edo residents that more recoveries would be made before the 2-week deadline set for the committee to complete its mandate. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime on Global Television, coming to you from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. When News Prime returns shortly, Senate passes tax reform bills for second reading. We have those details as well as foreign and sports stories for you. Do stay with us. This is the live broadcasts of News Prime with Uyi Agumofwegbe. We appreciate you for your time with us. Now let's turn to business. The federal government has confirmed that it spent a total sum of 8.8 billion naira for the repair and restoration of transmission towers that were vandalized across various regions of the country in 2024. Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the company, Ahmed Abdulaziz, stated this at the quarterly Power Sector Working Group meeting in Abuja. The Special Advisor to Minister of Power on Strategic Communication and Media Relations, Bolaji Tunji, in a statement says government is yet to achieve prosecution of arrested vandals as they are usually released on bail by the Nigeria police. The House of Representatives has asked its committees on finance, petroleum, upstream and downstream to investigate reports from the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Responsibility Commission alleging that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, withheld 8.48 trillion naira as claimed subsidies for petrol. The committees were further directed to verify the total cumulative amounts of unremitted revenue from the sale of petrol by the NNPCL between 2020 and 2023. The House had approved the 2025-2027 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper ahead of next week's presentation of the 2025 appropriation bill to the National Assembly by President Bola Tinubu. Vice President Kashif Shettima says Nigeria-China trade relations have reached $22.6 billion in 2023, making it one of the highest trade volumes between China and any African country. Shettima's spokesman Stanley Okocha disclosed this on his official X page, stating that the Vice President, while addressing a Chinese delegation led by Vice Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, Jiang Jikwe, at the meeting in Aso Rock Villa, commended the trade growth and reassured the delegation of Nigeria's commitment to fostering stronger ties with China. Oil marketers have outlined the conditions on which they would patronize the newly rehabilitated Port Harcourt Refinery Company in Rivers State. The refinery, under the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the marketers say they must dispense its refined petroleum products below the prices of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery. In its reaction to the claims, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited noted that its petrol sells for about 1,045 naira per litre, insisting that the refinery had yet to release its prices as products from the plant were currently dispensed to only NNPCL stations. The oil firm's spokesman, Olufemi Shonoye, revealed that the company is still reviewing its prices and had yet to commence bulk sales as its purchasing portal remains closed. Let's turn to the foreign scene now. On a sad note, former Liberian warlord Prince Johnson, a key player in the 1989 to 2003 back-to-back civil wars, died aged 72. Johnson, who was seen sipping beer in a video as fighters loyal to him tortured then President Samuel Doe to death in 1990, was an influential senator. Prince Johnson, who hailed from the northern region of Nimba, later became a preacher in an evangelical church where he enjoyed wide popularity. Australia says it will ban children under 16 from using social media after its Senate approved the world's strictest laws. The ban, which will not take effect for another 12 months, could see tech companies fined up to $50 million if they don't comply. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the legislation is needed to protect young people from the harms of social media, something many parent groups have echoed. The government also says it will rely on some form of age verification technology to implement the restrictions, and options will be tested in the coming months. And now let's get you into the ever-exciting world of sports. Manchester United legend Ruud van Nistelrooy has emerged as the leading candidate for the vacant managerial position at Leicester City following the dismissal of Steve Cooper. The development comes just weeks after Van Nistelrooy's brief stint as United's interim boss ended. Van Nistelrooy joined Erik ten Hag's coaching staff at Manchester United during the summer, but was thrust into the managerial role in October following ten Hag's sacking. Despite leading United to 3 wins in 4 matches, including back-to-back victories over Leicester, the Dutchman's interim position ended with the arrival of Ruben Amorim as the club's new head coach. Top fencing nations from around the world, including the United States, Hong Kong, Egypt, and others, are set to participate in the 2024 Men's Junior Epee Fencing World Cup, scheduled for December 14 to 15 in Lagos. Nigeria's prestigious international school, Charterhouse Lagos, will host the tournament, which makes Nigeria the first sub-Saharan African country to host a fencing World Cup. Countries confirmed for the 2-day championship include Ghana, Senegal, Greece, Angola, Togo, Benin Republic, and host Nigeria. President of the Nigeria Fencing Federation, Adeyinka Samuel, noted that Nigeria, as the choice to host the event, is a testament to the country's global recognition. Now let's end News Prime on Global Television, but quickly let's take a look at some summary of our big stories tonight. The chairman of the National Population Commission, NPC, Nasir Kwara, has disclosed that Nigeria's belated census will hold in 2025. In business, Vice President Kashif Shettima says Nigeria-China trade relations reached $22.6 billion in 2023, making it one of the highest trade volumes between China and any other African country. On the foreign scene, former Liberian warlord Prince Johnson, a key player in the 1989 to 2003 back-to-back civil wars, has died at the age of 72. And finally, in sports tonight, Manchester United legend Ruud van Nistelrooy has emerged as the leading candidate for the vacant managerial position at Leicester City following the dismissal of Steve Cooper. And that's News Prime for you. Thank you everyone so much for watching. But just to remind you that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, start times 276, and free to air on Nightcomsat. We encourage you to follow us across all of our social media platforms using the handles now showing on your screen, including at Global TV NG. On behalf of the entire production team here tonight at Global TV World Headquarters in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, I am Uyi Agmofwebe saying we are grateful for your time with us. We will see you again.